The desire to have a referendum is very low in Quebec. Don't know what the hell is going on in Alberta.
Okay, Alberta independence update. We have some clips here that I'll be reacting to. The first one, two former prime ministers, Jean Chretien and Stephen Harper. Let's take a look.
And we have the tolerance that is a great value. We are the sharing that does not exist in many other countries. We have less very, very rich people per capita, but less very, very poor people too in Canada. And we have the unity that we have to fight all the time.
Look, I've got to hop in there. Less very, very poor people in Canada. I would argue most people in Canada right now, yes, maybe they're not living in total poverty. They can't do what they want to do in life because the weak economy. Many people cannot afford a home. So, I mean, I guess there's not that many people per capita with no money whatsoever, but a lot of people are just getting by, and that is not good. And that's getting worse and worse and worse in recent years. Also, the other thing he said about very rich people, is he saying that's positive?
We are the sharing that does not exist in many other countries. We have less very, very rich people per capita, but less very, very poor people too in Canada. And we have the unity that we have to.
I mean, is he trying to frame that as positive? Is that not the Canadian attitude right now? Oh, don't get too rich. Canada would love to have an Amazon being created here, or Google, or something like that. I mean, we in theory could. You could create a massive tech company here. There are a few stories like that. Shopify is a great Canadian success story, but there's very few of those in recent history. Lululemon was a great Canadian story. Getting rich is a good thing. Other people get swept up in the wake of you making money. Something like half the people that work at NVIDIA, the American tech company, are millionaires. At least it was before. I mean, just a huge amount of people that work at that company are very rich. I don't understand framing that like I think he did as a good thing. Like, oh, there's not that much inequality. When people get rich, they take other people with them, plus more tax revenues. I mean, that statement I just totally do not like.
That. It's there and it will always be there. But we have managed quite well to survive, you know, and at this moment, our friend from the South has created a mood that a Canadian have never been so proud to be Canadian. You know, in my province.
By the way, that shows up. Have you seen the recent fertility numbers in Canada? That's a great example of what I'm talking about. People cannot afford to start families, so...
Some new data from Statistics Canada shows a sharp decline in fertility rates. Back in 2023, Canada joined, quote, ultra-low fertility countries like Japan, South Korea, and Switzerland.
It's generally accepted women need to have 2.1 children on average to maintain a country's position. As of 2024, that number in Canada was 1.25. The survey finds
that is so low. Yeah, that is approaching the countries at the very bottom, like Japan and South Korea. Look at this. 20 to 29, proportion of women aged 20 to 49 without children, almost 90%. That is unbelievable. That is such a sign that the country is failing. I mean, give me a break. Elbows up! Elbows up! The country is literally like kind of going extinct. That will eventually happen if that isn't changed dramatically. And I make a similar point later in the video, so I'll touch on this right now here, but CTV, to their credit, actually covered this 7 days ago. Sharp decline in fertility rates, Stats Can. If we go to CBC News and we try to search here to find any data or any rather news stories covering this, 1 year ago, 1 year ago, 1 year ago, birth rate. I mean, CBC, I could not find them cover this recent data. What the heck? This is the one we all pay for. And I like maybe other companies get a little in a less direct way. CBC gets a ton of taxpayer money. Why not cover this story? It's so important. This is way more important than what Trump is posting about. This is like existential to the country, but no recent story on this. Incredible.
But we have managed quite well to survive, and at this moment, our friend from the South has created a mood that a Canadian have never been so proud to be Canadian.
Give me a break with this. The country is doing so poorly. Everybody, if they're honest, would admit that, I believe. Even the Liberals. Everyone, if they're being honest about the state of Canada, it's awful relative to what it was 10 years ago. Countries are supposed to get better, not worse.
Quebec is still the same thing today. The desire to have a referendum is very low in Quebec. Don't know what the hell is going on in Alberta. But I have to go there. I have 500 cousins.
I can decide with the video.
Look, he says he doesn't know what the hell is going on in Alberta. He's 92, so I'm not going to go to whatever. We'll just keep the video playing. I mean, maybe he could say that's a joke. You got some laughs from the crowd. I'm not going to go that hard at that comment.
Any Tories did?
I'm told
I
not.
want an answer.
I'm told not.
Anyway, we're having fun. Canada will remain united, don't worry.
Well, I guess just on that point, you each have dealt during your tenure as Prime Minister with the stresses.
Can I just say something about that? No, not on Alberta. I just want to tell you something about Quebec. It'd be interesting to see how the election unfolds there, but I recently ran into, it was actually the airport here in Ottawa. I won't name the name, but I ran into somebody who is a very, very prominent long-term separatist. And he was saying to me, we were chatting, what do you think, this is several months ago, Harper, about what Prime Minister, what President Trump's doing. And we chatted for a moment, and I ended by saying, I say, this is the reason why we have to stick together. And he lowered his voice and said to me, I think you're right.
So he was talking, to be clear, there about a Quebec separatist. So I guess that happened. But okay, a few more clips to get to in this video, but this one's from CTV. Meetings between Alberta separatists and U.S. officials could diminish support for the cause. This is from 18 hours ago. Let's take a look.
To discuss is Lori Williams, political analyst at Mount Royal University. Lori, good morning to you. So the Alberta Separatist Group won't name names of which U.S. officials they met with, but nonetheless, how significant of a step is this?
Well, it is significant, and interestingly, I think it's playing poorly with those who support more independence for Alberta. It's important to understand that many of the folks that are listed in the polling as supporting separatism, many of them want to send a message to Ottawa.
I mean, what message? The priorities of Alberta are so obviously different than the priorities of Ottawa.
And polling suggests that while the total number might be as high as 30%, that those who are actually willing to go a little bit further, make sacrifices in order to separate, that drops it down to about 15%. And then those who want to join the United States is actually hovering around 10%. So this could actually...
I mean, we did cover yesterday a poll at 41% support.
I think that's right. It's just pedal to the metal, a lot of hard work. I was really encouraged today. Rachel Parker put out an shared an ECOS poll that's out that showed that independence is at over 41% now. There we go. Perfect, right? And shout out to Twitter handle or CW4 A New Republic on X. He posted the ECOS polls at 41%. Based on 2,800,000 voters, we only need 10% more. That's already 1,148,000 saying yes so far. Only 280,000 more to go. Think about that.
That's some good math.
Yeah, like it's amazing how close we are. And it's no wonder they're getting so scared, right? Why we're getting, the hysterical reaction from the mainstream media. And
diminish support for separatism in Alberta, particularly since they're looking for money to ease a transition should a vote succeed on separation in Alberta. I mean, if this is supposed to be so good for Alberta's prosperity and economic well-being, one has to wonder why that kind of funding would be necessary.
Important point about how this, even...
I don't even really know what the argument there is. What is the issue with the potential of getting a loan? I'll let Jeff Rath explain this, but the potential of getting a loan from an ally in America if there's difficulty, if the referendum vote is successful and Alberta does vote for independence. I mean, if you listen to Jeff Rath, it's pretty hard to argue his rationale. I'll let him go here.
I'm very careful with anybody to say that we haven't been offered any money by the United States. We're not seeking money from the United States. We're conducting a feasibility study on the availability of a sufficient credit facility to get Alberta over the hump in the hypothetical eventuality that Ottawa is going to play hardball and try to cut off our money once Alberta declares itself independent from Canada.
About how this, even drives a wedge among the group of separatists who are keen on leaving Canada. Could this cause more diplomatic friction between Canada and the U.S.?
Well, it's pretty tense already, but of course it is going to add. And
I think that is a fair question.
And I think we're not going to see that portrayed publicly. It's a bit surprising in some ways that others in the Republican Party in the United States and in the Trump administration are speaking publicly about how they would welcome Alberta and it would be better for them to be in the United States.
When did that happen? Again, that is just, I'll play the clip again. If she's referring to Scott Bessent, which I have to assume, at least that be part of it. When you say that, I mean, most people's minds are going to go to that clip from Bessent because that's been circulating all over Canadian media. He mentions the pipeline. He says, I'll play the clip, but it's they won't let Alberta build a pipeline to the Pacific. We should let them, I'm paraphrasing, let them come down to the U.S. He just mentioned the pipeline. A lot of people have taken that out of context, in my opinion, for sure, and say, oh, that means that members of the Trump administration are saying Alberta should be a part of America.
Alberta is a wealth of natural resources, but they won't let them build a pipeline to the Pacific. I think we should let them come down into the U.S., and Alberta is a natural partner for the U.S. They have great resources. The Albertans are very independent people. Rumored that they may have a referendum on whether they want to stay in Canada or not.
Sounds like you may know something up there.
People are saying, people are talking. People are talking. People want sovereignty. They want what the U.S. has got.
People want sovereignty. I mean, by the way, did you know that's a word stolen from First Nations people?
Sovereignty does not belong with the province of Alberta or Canada. We are the true sovereign nations of Canada. We will be the only sovereign nations of Canada. That is another item that they stole from our people, is that word sovereignty. Not only are they taking our land, our resources, and everything else that belongs to us, but they're also trying to take our words.
The rhetoric.
That's so incredible. By the way, when I show these clips, I don't believe that any one person like this speaks for all Indigenous people. I just want to say that, I guess, here just once. I mean, if you're watching these videos and you're Indigenous, I mean, it doesn't work like that. I don't believe that these people necessarily speak for you. Maybe you agree with some of their stuff and disagree with some other stuff. But anyway, we'll move on. I mean, there's a whole interesting discussion here to happen without taking things out of context like that. Because then it's just, we're arguing semantics and it's not even interesting. But I don't think that actually will play well for the people that want Alberta to stay in Canada, because people have the internet. They can look this stuff up.
The Trump administration are speaking publicly about how they would welcome Alberta and it would be better for them to be in the United States. But it's one of many irritants on that front. I think,
again, when did that happen?
I think a more full-throated, sort of strong stance supporting Canada and Alberta's place in it is the key, both for those negotiations and frankly, for the debate about separatism in Alberta. The case has to be made for all of the benefits for being part of Canada.
She's right. That case has to be made without clipping things out of context or referencing things like I just mentioned, and without shaming people. I mean, so far, where's the pro-Alberta stay in Canada argument? I barely see that. I see the odd snarky post on X, and that's really about it.
And addressing some of the concerns that many Albertans who are not separatists also share.
What do you make of Premier Danielle Smith's position, or lack of position, as some people say, on denouncing the separatist movement?
Well, she's in an awkward position. Polls put about 50% of her party toying with separatism. She says she's got a united caucus. We're hearing other stories suggesting there are people within that caucus who've signed the petition. But again, what that means is really difficult to know. Even the phrase a united Canada and a sovereign Alberta within a united Canada is difficult to fully understand in terms of what that means. And some are hoping that Danielle Smith highlights the progress that has been made, the changes that have been made, the benefits that have begun to sort of emerge in this very difficult time for Team Canada. And I think a lot of folks in Alberta and elsewhere are hoping that part of the message is emphasized a little bit more. That said,
every time I hear Team Canada, I hear we're going to bully everybody in Canada to be liberal, have liberal views on the world. That to me is Team Canada. It's not about actually coming together. It's about follow our advice. It's just the same thing as COVID. It's the COVID emergency. We all got to come together and take one for the team. That's what Team Canada is. Like,
the more that Danielle Smith emphasizes that, the more challenging it becomes for her to keep unity within her party that are divided on that and a number of other points.
Lori Williams, always appreciate speaking with you. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, another short clip here. Alberta sovereignty is an illusion, Chief. This again is from CTV News. I mean, we will see, but it kind of looks like CBC is hesitant to cover this story. I mean, I think it's too early to actually make that claim, but I definitely lately have found way more content on this topic from CTV than CBC, even Global too. I tried to find a little from Global, but CBC is the one we're all paying for. We all pay something like $35 or roughly a year to CBC. So like a little tiny subscription fee every month, $3 roughly to CBC, yet not a lot of content lately on Alberta separatism, Alberta independence. We'll take a look at part of this clip here.
We talked about unity and alliance when Alberta just continues to disrespect treaty. You know, Alberta's sovereignty is illusion. Without treaty, Alberta, as we know it, wouldn't even exist. Maybe understand what treaty is before you impose legislation on us. Understand your constitution that created the province. Understand you need 7 different provinces to move forward on your separation, which will never happen.
And see here, we go to CBC News and we search Alberta into their YouTube channel here. This one's from 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. So they were covering it last week, but lately, and then if you go to CTV and search Alberta, this is a tragic story. I saw that. That's awful. But CTV is actually covering this 14 hours ago, 1 day ago, 15 hours ago, 17 hours ago. I mean, it's actually not even comparable. The amount of coverage Alberta separatism, Alberta independence is getting on CTV compared to CBC. I mean, I don't know what's happening. It's way too small of a sample size to draw any conclusions there, but I noticed that, at least just personally. Even if we check out CBC News Alberta, I don't see any of these stories about independence. Edmonton, Culture Matters. Like, I don't see any in the last few days about that. I mean, is it not news? It's clearly, I would say, the biggest story in the province. In my opinion, at least. It would be nice if Canada had one of these mainstream channels that was like Fox News in America and actually right-wing. There's a lot of great independent news in Canada that's right of center, but I think the truth is that a lot of the older generation, not all of them, but some of them still do get a lot of their news from the TV box. I mean, that kind of shows up, by the way, in polling too, that young people in Canada are actually quite conservative relative to the rest of the world, and older people in Canada are quite liberal. That's kind of backwards. I think this is the biggest story in Canada right now. Of course. I mean, I'm maybe biased because I'm interested in the story. With that said, I'll finish the video for now. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.